Yeah, he's right. We've been home an awful lot to open up the season. So looking forward to an Iowa team who just keeps getting better and better. And I think they're 11-3. Their only three losses are against top 25 teams. Two of them ranked in the top five. And they've got some transfers in and some young kids that are really helping their team. And then quick turnaround to Nebraska, who just went out and swept Penn State at Penn State, among some other things this season. So looking forward to our second road trip of the year and getting back in the gym.
You made the switch to Tiffany at libero this week. What did you think of her play overall in the two matches, and just your general observation of her back there?
I thought Tiff handled the position really well. It's which doesn't surprise me or any of her teammates at all from what we've seen. Very steady, competitive. Passed a 2.67 yesterday, which is a really high number. I thought passing was good. I thought defensively she was flying around and making some really nice plays, and I think everybody else has kind of handled that change. Certainly hasn't been the only change that we've done the first month and a half, but I thought everybody else's their play has been steady as well. Roles have kind of changed, but I think, people are responding the right way. I thought defensively Emmy was fantastic yesterday. I thought Amber came in and really did some nice things behind the service line. We don't win that second set without Sarah Dodd making two really strong defensive moves. And so, our backcourt is a little bit by committee. I thought Tiffany did a great job of managing what had to be some interesting emotions going into yesterday's match, playing against her former teammates, and I thought she did a great job with that. So I thought, very businesslike from her and from the other people in the backcourt.
You mentioned the progress that Iowa has made. This is a tough conference to work your way up through the ranks because nobody seems to get worse. How have they gotten better over the years you've prepared to play them and then face them? And how are they different now in the step by step?
Bond's got him feisty. They compete like crazy. They believe in themselves and each other. I think the culture is really strong. He's worked really hard on recruiting. He's gotten a lot of transfers, and one of the things with transfers is sometimes those teams that rely on a lot of transfers, the culture isn't great, and he's from afar, from a few hundred miles away, it certainly looks like their culture is in good shape, and everybody's moving in the same direction. Defensively, they play really hard, very fast. Offensively, their offense is a little bit different than about anybody else. But I think it's you get your players all moving the same direction. You get them buying into to the culture of how you're wanting to run things. You get you run a system that people can believe in. They're running it really quick. And he's got the people that have transferred in there. I think they've enjoyed the energy that the program seems to have, and it's brought out the best in them. But they had a heck of a rebound year last year. The record is great again this year. Just another team that is just really good.
Told us last week, concentrate on Michigan State, and then they go in and beat Minnesota. We shouldn't be surprised by that. It's not something you go and, wow, is it?
There's not much in the Big Ten that is a shock. Now, excuse me, would you guess that they'd go in to Minnesota and sweep them? I'm not sure anybody would think that. But they just made a switch in the libero because of an injury. Prior to that, they had their six starters were all seniors, and half of them were redshirt seniors. they're very, very, very experienced, and they can light it up behind the service line. You know, they've been in these big gyms playing, you know, on the road for a lot of matches over their careers. So I don't think they get spooked too easily. You know, and then in our case, in the fifth set, you know, to come out, you saw a difference in the two teams with a few of those points where being familiar with each other, some of those bang bang plays they were able to work through, and a couple of those where we gave up 3 or 4 points that really kind of hurt us. But that's going to be the Big Ten all year. I mean, Michigan State's a legitimate team that can, you know, that can win this league. They certainly believe that. I'm sure they're not surprised to come in here and knock us off or go over there and beat Minnesota. Yeah, that's welcome to our conference.
Coach, having such a young team and coming off your first loss, how happy were you with the response they showed against Michigan and following a 5-setter and sweeping Michigan in the following game?
Yeah, I very, very pleased. I mean, not just with the win. I was pleased with how I saw our players the next day. You know, it's those locker rooms are never fun after a loss, and it was our first one, and you know, there are some people that are taking it personally, which is fine. But what you talk about is, hey, you can be irritated and upset or whatever throughout the night, but the time we reconvene the next morning, everybody better be back. You know, the train's moving. You better be back on the train, because we're not going to wait for anybody. And that means energy, and that means alertness and paying attention. And you got in the next morning. We started in on Michigan with the team, and you could just tell. I mean, they were just clear-eyed and asking the right questions. And we got in the gym, and even though it was a long night the night before, I thought the energy was good with what we were trying to do. And you could tell on Sunday, that they were just ready for the match. So you loved the preparation leading into it, which is something that all coaches are looking for. You know, you're hoping that you don't have a team full of, sitting around with a hangover from the previous match, and I certainly didn't feel that. So, but then you've got to get into the match, you've got to execute, and I thought we executed. Obviously, we came out really well in the first set. They picked it up a little bit in the second, Michigan, that is, and we just hung in there in the second. Gave ourselves a chance to win, and then coming into the third, I just thought we showed great maturity coming into the third, and just staying in the fight and not pulling up. I thought coming out of that loss, I thought the team showed maturity, and that was certainly something we talked about. That I was certainly happy to see from our players.
Nebraska had a lot of turnover in personnel this year, and then a 3 early losses dropped them a little out of the limelight, and yet they opened the season sweeping Penn State, and seemed to be a lot like old Nebraska teams. What do you see there, and how different are they? How similar are they to the teams you faced?
Yeah, it's like a lot of players and a lot of teams in the league, they've lost some really important pieces. The libero graduated. Their 2 twins graduated. Those are 3 really big pieces. Early losses, they were without their starting setter, and she's really good. She's one of the better setters in the country, I think. And so there's not a lot of teams that are going to be able to lose that kind of firepower, lose their starting setter for a few weeks, and then go and beat top 5, top 10 teams. And but they've got their lineup, and it looks very similar to what they always do. I mean, they serve well. They'll keep pressure behind you in the service line. They don't give anything away in the serve receive game. I mean, they keep their. It's very difficult to get them out of system. They don't get aced very well, which is very typical with them. They're balanced. They've got a smaller outside hitter that is just in the. I think the last 5 matches or their 5 ranked teams, I think is hitting like 357, something insane like that. She's hitting at a really high level for being about 5'10", and then you've got one of the most powerful hitters in the country. The other outside hitter, Fecky, and she's just a beast out there. They're good. Their young kids have come in. Middle redshirt freshman is coming in doing a really nice job, and the right side freshman is probably coming out of the gates as well as any freshman in the country. So it's typical, very, very, very good Nebraska team. Their older kids are playing like veterans, and their younger kids have come in. That's one of the things about club ball. Is they're getting so much experience in club that some of these elite kids are coming in, and they're ready to take off. And we've certainly seen that with a lot of the freshmen in this league.
Anything else for Coach?
Thanks, guys.
All right.